What if I told you that at this very moment, you could be living in an illusion so powerful that you don't even realize it? Imagine waking up one day and discovering that everything you believed to be true was part of a bigger plan, a deception so sophisticated that even the most intelligent would fall for it. No, this isn't science fiction. It's a warning that was written over Doas 0 years ago, and which is now being fulfilled before our very eyes. In a world where deepfakes are indistinguishable from reality, where the truth is called a lie, and a lie is called the truth, where your own mind may be being programmed without you even realizing it, an ancient biblical prophecy reveals something disturbing. God will allow a powerful illusion to deceive those who have rejected the truth. And the signs have already begun. In the next few minutes, you'll discover why millions of people are being conditioned to accept the greatest deception in history. The 3 signs that prove this prophecy is being fulfilled today. And most importantly, how you can protect yourself from what's coming. Once you've discovered this, there's no turning back. This could be the most important video you watch this year. And no, that's not an exaggeration. It's a wake-up call. The great illusion is coming, and you need to be prepared. Keep watching. Your reality is about to change forever. In a world that is increasingly digitally connected, but paradoxically more disconnected from fundamental truth, an ancient prophecy emerges that resonates with frightening relevance in our day. The Apostle Paul's words to the Thessalonians echo through the centuries as an urgent warning to our generation. A strong delusion is about to envelop those who have rejected the love of truth. We live in a time unprecedented in human history. Technology is advancing by leaps and bounds, promising a future of infinite possibilities, while simultaneously distancing us from our own humanity. Social networks, initially designed to bring people together, have become echo chambers where individual truths compete with objective facts, and where reality bends to the whims of personal preferences. The prophecy about the Great Illusion couldn't be more pertinent. At a time when humanity has instant access to an ocean of information, paradoxically, we have never been more vulnerable to deception. The abundance of data does not translate into wisdom. On the contrary, it often only serves to confuse and disorientate. The post-truth phenomenon, a term that has gained prominence in recent years, is not just a passing social trend. It is a symptom of something much deeper and more disturbing. It represents a fundamental change in the way society perceives and interacts with the truth. It is no longer enough for something to be true. It must be emotionally satisfying. It must confirm our pre-existing beliefs. It must make us feel good. This transformation in humanity's relationship with truth didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual process, a slow but steady erosion of the foundations that supported our understanding of what is real and true. Like a house built on sand, our society began to sink into a swamp of moral relativism and extreme subjectivity. The prophecy speaks of a strong delusion. But what exactly does this mean in our contemporary context? It's not just about obvious lies or blatant deceptions. It's something much more subtle and pervasive. It's a fundamental distortion of reality that affects all spheres of human life: relationships, morality, spirituality, politics, and culture. In the sphere of relationships, we see how technology has created an illusion of connection, while, in reality, promoting ever greater isolation. Virtual relationships replace genuine interactions, and real intimacy is exchanged for a superficial, digitized version of human communion. In the realm of morality, the great illusion manifests itself through a relativism that denies the existence of absolute truths. What's true for you may not be true for me, has become the mantra of a generation that rejects any notion of objective moral standards. This perspective not only contradicts the existence of a divine truth, but also undermines the very foundations of civilized society. The spiritual sphere is perhaps where the illusion manifests itself most dangerously. Contemporary spirituality has become a buffet of beliefs, where each individual can pick and choose what pleases them, creating their own personalized version of spiritual truth. This do-it-yourself approach to faith not only contradicts the nature of divine truth, but also leaves people vulnerable to all kinds of deception. The most disturbing aspect of prophecy is that delusion is not simply allowed by God. It is sent as a response to the deliberate rejection of truth. This reveals a profound spiritual principle. When we repeatedly reject the truth, our ability to recognize it progressively diminishes. It's like a muscle that, without use, atrophies. Contemporary culture, with its emphasis on extreme individualism and personal autonomy, has created the perfect environment for this illusion to flourish. The media, social networks, and even some religious institutions have become vehicles for propagating this mentality that prioritizes emotional comfort over objective truth. In the political field, extreme polarization is both a symptom and a catalyst of this grand illusion. Constructive dialogue has been replaced by ideological war cries, and the search for truth has been abandoned in favor of defending partisan positions. Politics has become an arena where truth is the first casualty. Technology, especially with the advent of artificial intelligence and deep fakes, adds a new layer of complexity to this scenario. When we can no longer trust our own eyes and ears, when reality can be perfectly simulated and manipulated, how do we discern the true from the false? However, in the midst of this challenging scenario, prophecy also brings hope. The fact that it is a warning implies that there is still time to choose a different path. Illusion, however strong, is not inevitable for those who maintain a genuine love for the truth. Resistance to this great illusion begins at the individual level. It requires a conscious and continuous commitment to the search for truth, even when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable. It requires a willingness to question not only the narratives we are presented with, but also our own beliefs and assumptions. The role of authentic community becomes crucial in this context. In a world of digital isolation and superficial relationships, the need for genuine connections and mutual accountability has never been more important. Truth thrives in communities where people can be honest, vulnerable, and mutually committed to spiritual growth. Education, not just academic, but especially moral and spiritual, takes on a fundamental role. It is necessary to develop robust critical thinking, capable of discerning between truth and error, between reality and illusion. This includes a deep understanding of sacred scripture, history, philosophy, and human nature. The prophetic aspect of this phenomenon cannot be ignored. The scriptures warn that the last days would be characterized by a great apostasy, a mass turning away from the truth. What we are witnessing today may well be the fulfillment of these ancient prophecies. The spiritual dimension of this delusion is particularly significant. It is not just an intellectual or emotional deception, but a spiritual blindness that affects a person's own ability to discern the truth. It's a vicious cycle where rejection of the truth leads to greater susceptibility to deception. However, even in the midst of the growing darkness, there are beacons of hope. People who maintain their integrity, who continue to seek and live the truth, regardless of the personal cost. These people serve as points of reference for others, demonstrating that it is possible to resist the tide of illusion. Preparing for these challenging times requires a holistic approach. It is not enough just to accumulate knowledge. It is necessary to develop wisdom. It's not enough just to recognize the truth. You have to love it. It's not enough just to resist deception. One must actively cultivate truth in all areas of life. The most surprising aspect of prophecy is how it reveals God's respect for human free will. Delusion is not imposed arbitrarily, but comes as a consequence of deliberate choices. Those who persistently reject the truth eventually lose the ability to recognize it. This reality confronts us with an urgent and unavoidable choice. Every decision we make, every truth we accept or reject, moves us in one direction or another. There is no neutrality in this spiritual battle for the mind and heart of humanity. The influence of modern culture on this process cannot be underestimated. Through entertainment, the media, and education, we are constantly bombarded with messages that normalize the rejection of objective truth. The relativization of fundamental values is presented as progress, and the search for absolute truths is often ridiculed as old-fashioned or intolerant. However, the consequences of this grand illusion are very real and deeply personal. They affect relationships, life decisions, future prospects, and, most importantly, eternal destiny. Prophecy serves as a loving wake-up call, a call to wake up before it's too late. The response to this challenge must be both individual and collective. As individuals, we are called to cultivate an unwavering love for the truth, to develop spiritual discernment, and to maintain our integrity in a world of compromise. As a community, we are called to support one another, to preserve and pass on the truth to the next generations. The role of the Holy Spirit as guide and protector against deception becomes ever more crucial. In a world where the line between truth and lies is becoming increasingly blurred, the need for supernatural discernment has never been greater. The urgency of the moment cannot be overstated. The choices we make today will determine our ability to discern the truth tomorrow. Every commitment to the lie, every conscious rejection of the truth, makes us more vulnerable to the great illusion. However, even in the face of this challenging scenario, the final message is one of hope. The truth, although often attacked and seemingly defeated, always prevails in the end. Those who maintain their love for the truth, who resist the temptation to accept illusory comforts, will find not only clarity in the midst of confusion, but also lasting purpose and meaning. The call for this time is clear. Stand firm in the truth, resist the growing illusion, and help others find their way through the darkness. The prophecy is not just a grim warning, but an invitation to choose wisely, to love truth above comfort, and to remain faithful in the midst of widespread apostasy. Ultimately, the prophesied Great Delusion serves as a watershed for humanity. It reveals not only the condition of the human heart, but also God's justice and mercy. Those who choose to love and follow the truth will find their protection and salvation in it, while those who reject it will reap the natural consequences of their choices. The world is being warned. The choice is before us. The time to decide is now. In a world increasingly dominated by illusions, the truth remains a beacon of hope and salvation for all who seek it with sincerity of heart. As we delve deeper into this analysis of the prophesied Great Illusion, it is crucial to examine its more subtle manifestations and far-reaching implications. The deception of the last days does not present itself as an obvious lie, but as a sophisticated and multifaceted distortion of reality. Consider, for example, how modern technology has created a parallel reality where millions live their lives. The metaverse, social networks, and virtual worlds are not just platforms for entertainment. They are incubators of a new form of collective consciousness, where the line between the real and the artificial becomes increasingly blurred. The very nature of knowledge is being redefined. In an age where algorithms determine what is true based on popularity and engagement, ancient wisdom and eternal truths are often relegated to digital oblivion. Superficial knowledge replaces deep understanding, and wisdom is confused with the mere accumulation of information. This fundamental transformation in the way we process and validate truth has profound implications for our spirituality. Faith, which traditionally required commitment, sacrifice, and submission to absolute truths, is being replaced by a do-it-yourself spirituality, where each individual becomes their own final authority on matters of truth and morality. The impact of this paradigm shift is particularly evident in the way younger generations approach questions of faith and truth. Brought up in a digital environment where all perspectives are presented as equally valid, many young people find it difficult to accept the existence of absolute truths. The very idea of objective truth is viewed with suspicion, as a remnant of a less enlightened age. However, the consequences of this mentality go beyond the spiritual sphere. They fundamentally affect how we build relationships, how we make moral decisions, and how we see ourselves as human beings. Personal identity, for example, has become increasingly fluid and subject to constant redefinition, reflecting the changing nature of truth in our postmodern society. The prophecy about the Great Illusion also alerts us to an often overlooked aspect: the role of the human will in the process of deception. It's not just a question of being passively deceived, but of actively choosing deception. This choice usually begins with small compromises, small concessions to the lie, that gradually erode our ability to discern the truth. The most insidious aspect of this illusion is its ability to present itself as enlightenment. Deception often comes disguised as awakening, evolution of consciousness, liberation from old limitations. This inversion, where lies are presented as truth, and truth is labeled as a lie, is perhaps the most disturbing aspect of prophecy. The psychological dimension of the Great Illusion cannot be ignored. Human beings have a remarkable capacity for self-deception, for rationalizing behaviors and beliefs that contradict the known truth. This natural tendency is amplified in a culture that celebrates its truth to the detriment of objective truth. The role of the media and entertainment in this process is particularly significant. Through carefully constructed narratives, the entertainment industry not only reflects, but also shapes our perception of reality. Stories that question the existence of absolute truths or that relativize moral values are presented as courageous and progressive. Modern education, with its emphasis on critical thinking, devoid of absolute moral foundations, inadvertently contributes to this great illusion. By teaching that all perspectives are equally valid, without providing tools to discern between truth and error, the education system may be preparing an entire generation to accept deception. The prophetic aspect of this situation becomes even clearer when we consider how the ancient scriptures accurately predicted the current state of society. The description of a time when people will have itching ears and will turn away from the truth and turn to fables seems remarkably timely. Responding to this challenge requires more than just intellectual knowledge or religious zeal. It requires a fundamental transformation in our relationship with the truth. We need to develop not only the capacity to recognize truth, but a genuine love for it, even when it challenges our personal preferences or causes discomfort. The role of authentic community in this process cannot be underestimated. In a world of superficial digital connections, the need for genuine relationships, where truth can be lived and shared in a context of love and accountability, becomes crucial. Resistance to the Great Illusion also requires a deeper understanding of the nature of spiritual deception. It's not just a question of misinformation, but of a spiritual blindness that affects our ability to discern the truth. This blindness is as much a result of our choices as it is a spiritual consequence. Prophecy warns us of a time when the very ability to recognize the truth will be compromised. This is not just a warning about future events, but an urgent call to develop now the spiritual and moral resources necessary to resist deception. The most hopeful aspect of this prophecy is that, even in the midst of the strongest delusion, there will always be a remnant who maintain their love for the truth. These people will serve as beacons of light in a world increasingly dominated by the darkness of deception. The truth you have just discovered is only the beginning. The world is changing rapidly, and the great illusion intensifies every day. But you don't have to face it alone. If this video has opened your eyes, and you want to stay informed and prepared for what's to come, there's a simple and crucial action you can take right now. Click on the subscribe button below and activate the notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know when we release new revealing content like this. Each video is a piece of the puzzle, helping you to see the full picture in a world of illusions. And if this content has impacted you in any way, please leave a like. Every like isn't just a gesture of support. It's a signal to the algorithm to show this video to more people who, like you, seek the truth in times of deception. Remember, knowledge is power, especially now. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video. Together, we can resist the great illusion and help others open their eyes before it's too late. See you in the next video. Stay alert, stand firm in the truth, and may wisdom guide you in times of darkness.